She was standing by my gate, pointing at me cabin like she owned it. "This is Theone," she told a man in a suit, waving her hand as if she was giving him a grand tour. The man was holding a clipboard, peeking over the fence, smiling like he had already bought the place. I stepped onto the porch, coffee mug in hand, and yelled, "Can I help you?" She didn't even flinch. "Yes, you can move your stuff out. This property is now on the market." I laughed at first, thinking it was some dumb hoe mistake. But then I saw the sign she had stuck into the ground for sale. My address, my land, my cabin, with her name listed as the community representative. "Ma'am, this is my home," I said, walking toward the gate. She smiled, fake tight-lipped. "Not anymore. The HOA has decided to sell it. We already have interested buyers." My grip tightened on my coffee mug. "Interesting," I said slowly. "Because last I checked, the HOA doesn't own me or my land." She glanced at the realtor like I was being unreasonable. He whispered something to her, and she whispered back, "Don't worry. He won't be here much longer." That's when I noticed the lock on my gate different from mine. She had changed it. I pulled my phone out, ready to call the sheriff, but then I stopped. A better idea hit me. Without saying another word, I walked back to my shed. A minute later, I came back with my own lock, a heavy chain, and a sign I'd been saving for a long time. By the time they realized what I was doing, the gate was chained shut from my side, and a bright red sign hung on it that read, "Private property. Trespassers will be prosecuted." The realtor's smile faded. Evelyn's jaw tightened. "You can't do that," she snapped. I took a slow sip of my coffee. "Watch me." Evelyn's voice rose. "Sharp enough to wake the birds in the trees. You are obstructing an official sale. I'll call security right now." She pulled out her phone and started dialing without breaking eye contact. I leaned against the gate, watching her like she was a bad TV show. "Go ahead," I said, "but make sure they bring real badges this time." The realtor stepped back, clearly regretting whatever commission he thought he was going to get today. "Ma'am, maybe we should," he started, but she waved him off. 2 minutes later, an old white SUV rolled up the dirt road, dust swirling behind it. 2 men got out, uniforms, but no patches, no department names. One of them had a badge clipped to his belt, the kind you can buy on the internet for $12.99. "Sir, we're going to need you to open this gate," the taller one said. I took one long look at him and smiled. "And I'm going to need you to tell me what law gives you the right to be here." Evelyn crossed her arms. "These men are with community enforcement. They have the authority." I stepped closer to the fence, lowering my voice just enough foreignly them to hear. "See, here's the thing. I know real law enforcement. Used to train them. SWAT, sheriff's deputies, state police, and I know for a fact." I paused, letting the silence bite. "You two aren't on any roster." The fake cops exchanged a look, but Evelyn jumped in before they could answer. "You can't intimidate me with your stories," she barked. "Oh, it's not a story," I said, pulling my phone back out. "It's a live call to the county sheriff. You can either leave now or you can explain to him why you're wearing fake badges on private property." The taller man shifted on his feet. The other one muttered, "Evelyn, maybe we should," but she cut him off again. "No, he's bluffing." That's when a sound rolled up the road, low, steady, and unmistakable, the rumble of a county patrol truck. The patrol truck slowed to a stop right behind the fake SUV, its lights flashing red and blue against the trees. The real sheriff stepped out, broad shoulders, mirrored sunglasses, the kind of man who didn't need to raise his voice to be taken seriously. "Morning," he said, looking from me to Evelyn to the 2 men in their knockoff uniforms. "Somebody want to tell me why I'm here?" Evelyn jumped in before anyone else could speak. "Yes, this man is illegally occupying this property. We have a buyer ready and he's blocking the sale. Also, he threatened my security officers." She motioned toward the 2 men like they were heroes. The sheriff's expression didn't change, but his eyes flicked tome. "Is that true?" I took a slow breath. "No, Sheriff. This is my land," she's trespassing. "They're impersonating officers and she changed my locks." I held up my phone. I have every second of it on video. The sheriff turned his head toward the 2 security officers. "Names?" he asked. They stuttered. One of them gave a name I knew wasn't real because I had trained a man with that name 5 years ago and he didn't look anything like this guy. The sheriff's jaw tightened. "Badge numbers." Silence. Evelyn stepped forward like she could still control the situation. This is a private community matter, Sheriff. The HOA has full authority here. He cut her off with one sharp look. Ma'am, unless the HOA owns this man's deed, you have no authority to sell his home or change his locks. She froze for half a second, then smirked. Actually, I do have the deed. She reached into her bag and pulled out a folder, flipping it open like she had just played her winning card. The sheriff took it, glanced over the papers, and frowned. That's interesting. He looked at me. Because these documents say the property waste transferred 2 weeks ago. My stomach dropped. I had never signed a thing. Evelyn folded her arms, her smug smile widening as if she'd already won. See, all legal. He's been living here for 2 weeks without owning it. The sheriff handed me the papers. My name was nowhere. Instead, there was a forged signature that barely looked human, and a buyer's name I had never heard before. That's not my handwriting, I said, my voice low. Evelyn shrugged. Doesn't matter. County records already show the transfer. We wired the funds 2 weeks ago. I narrowed my eyes. With whose money? She didn't answer. Just turned her gaze back to the realtor, who was now pretending to check something on his phone to avoid eye contact. The sheriff rubbed his jaw. This is serious. If these papers are fake, that's felony fraud. But I can't confirm that standing here. Evelyn jumped in, her voice rising. Fine. While you confirm things, he can pack up and leave. The buyer's already waiting to move in. I stepped closer at the gate. Not happening. Then I leaned toward the sheriff, keeping my voice steady but loud enough for Evelyn to hear. Sheriff, 2 months ago, I installed a new security system. Every visitor's car plate gets scanned. Every delivery, every walk-up, it's all logged with timestamps. And I have backups off-site. For the first time, Evelyn's confident expression cracked. You can't use that. It's a violation of I cut her off. It's my land, my cameras, my evidence. And if we pull the footage from the last 2 weeks, we'll see exactly who walked up to that courthouse with those papers. The sheriff's eyes narrowed like he was already picturing it. All right, he said. We're going to take a drive down to my office and check those records right now. Evelyn opened her mouth to argue, but before she could speak, a sleek black SUV rolled up the road. The license plate was covered, the windows tinted. It stopped just behind the sheriff's truck, and the man who stepped out made Evelyn go pale. The man closed the SUV door with slow precision, like someone used to being in control, tall, clean-cut, wearing a tailored suit that didn't belong on a dusty back road. He walked toward us without a word. Evelyn's voice, which had been loud and sharp all morning, suddenly dropped. I didn't think you'd come in person, she stammered. He didn't answer her. His eyes went straight to me, cold but calculating. Then he turned to the sheriff. Officer, this doesn't need to get messy. We have paperwork. We have rights. Let's settle this privately. The sheriff tilted his head. And you are? The man pulled a leather wallet from his jacket and flipped it open. Not a badge. Not an ID I recognized. Just a business card with a gold-embossed logo and the words Grayson and Vale Properties. I'd never heard of it, but the way Evelyn kept glancing between him and the sheriff told me she knew exactly who he was. I stepped forward. So you're the buyer? His lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. Let's just say I represent interests that want this property urgently. My grip on the gate tightened. Funny, because I don't recall putting it up for sale. Evelyn finally found her voice. Mr. Vale has connections. This is bigger than you think. If you just move out, you might even get compensated. Her words dripped with fake kindness, but her eyes were darting everywhere, like she was afraid of what might be said next. The sheriff's patience was wearing thin. Look, either this deed is legitimate or it's not, and until I confirm it, Noon's taking a step past this gate. Mr. Vale's gaze locked on him. Sheriff, you have no idea who you're dealing with. I couldn't help myself. I laughed. Funny, that's exactly what I was going to say. Vale's expression shifted just slightly when I added, you might want to check whose name is on the original title. Theone filed 20 years ago. The sheriff glanced at me. Original title? I nodded. Filed in '05. My father's name then transferred to me when he passed. I still have the certified copy. Safe, notarized, and stored where no one here can touch it, Evelyn scoffed. But her voice shook. That doesn't mean anything. Titles get updated. This one was updated. She pointed at the folder in the sheriff's hand like it was the ultimate truth. Other fingers were trembling. I leaned forward just enough so Mr. Vale could hear me clearly. Here's the problem with your plan. You bought a fake deed from someone who didn't own this place. And when that comes out, it's not me facing charges. It's you. The sheriff's radio crackled. Dispatch to Unit 4. Yeah, we pulled the courthouse security cam from 2 weeks ago. That property transfer? Yeah. Your suspect's a female, mid-50s, short blonde hair, floral blouse. Everyone's eyes slid toward Evelyn. She froze. That's not me. I wasn't even there. But the sheriff was already walking toward his truck. We'll see about that. And if the footage matches, we're adding criminal impersonation, document fraud, and unlawful lock change to your list. Mr. Vale stepped closer to hear, his voice low but sharp. You told me this was clean. You said he was Askwater. Evelyn's face drained of color. He was supposed to be gone by now. I couldn't stop the smirk. Sorry to disappoint. The sheriff turned back to him. Sir, I'm going to need you to come down to the station with us. Bring that certified title copy. We'll get this straightened out. I nodded, already picturing the storage locker where it was kept. But as we started toward the vehicles, Mr. Vale pulled out his phone, stepped away from the group, and muttered into it. Plan B. Do it at dawn. Those 3 words, do it at dawn, cut through the air like a blade. I stopped mid-step, pretending to adjust my jacket while my ears stayed locked on his voice. Mr. Vale's tone was calm, but it carried the weight of someone used to getting his way. No, I don't care if it's risky. Make sure the place is empty first, then burn it. My stomach turned cold. He wasn't talking about paperwork anymore. He was talking about my home. Evelyn caught my expression and instantly looked away, fidgeting with the hem of her blouse. That told me everything. Sheck knew, she knew, and she wasn't going to stop it. The sheriff must have noticed the shift in my face. Something wrong? He asked. I glanced at Mr. Vale, who had already pocketed his phone and was smiling like nothing had happened. Everything's fine, Mr. Vale said quickly. Let's just wrap this up. I made a split-second choice. I wasn't going to say anything here, not with Evelyn and Mr. Vale both standing in front of me, both willing to twist the truth. Instead, I say to the sheriff, yeah, fine, but I'll follow you down in my own truck. He nodded. As they pulled away, I didn't head straight to the station. I took the back trail through the woods, one that circled right behind my cabin. From there, I could see the road, and within 20 minutes, a dark van rolled up, stopping a little too far from the property to be casual. 2 men got out, both wearing gloves. One of them carried a red gas can. I stayed low in the trees, phone in hand, recording every second. The men didn't waste time. They headed straight for my gate, clearly expecting it to be unlocked. When they found my chain and heavy lock still in place, one of them pulled out bolt cutters. That's when I stepped out of the shadows and racked the pump on my shotgun. Not aimed at them, just loud enough to make their blood run cold. Private property, I said, my voice steady. And you're about 5 seconds from explaining to the sheriff why you're carrying gasoline. One of them dropped the can. The other tried to bluff. We're maintenance workers. I raised an eyebrow. Yeah, maintenance usually comes during the day without masks. I nodded toward my camera. Smile. You're already in 3 different security feeds. I didn't even have to call the sheriff. He'd already doubled back, suspicious after the way Mr. Vale had rushed to leave. His patrol truck rolled up behind Thaven, lights flashing, blocking their escape. Within minutes, both men were in cuffs. The sheriff looked at me. I'm guessing these 2 aren't on your payroll. I handed him my phone with the video and said, and that's not even the best part. Check the voice memo I recorded earlier. You'll hear exactly who sent them. By nightfall, Evelyn was arrested for fraud and trespassing. Mr. Vale was picked up for conspiracy to commit arson and property theft. Turned out Grayson and Vale Properties had been targeting older properties to flip illegally. Mine just happened to be Theone they couldn't steal quietly. As I locked my gate for the last time that night, I glanced at the new sign hanging next to the chain. Protected land, owner armed and recording. I thought about my father, about the title he'd left me, and about the people who thought they could take it with fake paper and cheap threats. I took one last look toward Therode and muttered, I didn't fight for this country to hand it over to crooks. Then I walked back inside my cabin, my land, my rules, knowing no one would dare touch it again.